founder of the Islam Center.
No need for you to go through that long process. So it's okay. Thank
You don't want
you.
me to?
That's it.
You sure?
Thank you. I know. Thank you. Take this. You need to rest.
Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي فضل الإسلام على سائر الأديان وفضل أمة الإسلام على سائر الأمم وفضل محمدا صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم على الخلق أجمعين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم عبد الله ورسوله أما بعد. We thank the Almighty Allah for an opportunity to be here. We thank Him for His mercies that He's bestowed upon us. We bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except the Almighty Allah alone. And we bear witness that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is His servant and His messenger. Whosoever the Almighty Allah guides is really guided. And anybody who goes astray has nobody to blame but themselves. Today, I believe, is a Saturday, the 15th day of Rabiul Awwal, 1445 years after the hijrah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which corresponds with, I believe, the 30th day of September 2023. After thanking Almighty Allah, I also want to thank the Willingboro Muslim Education Circle and the whole community for finding me, this small boy, to invite as a keynote speaker in this August, program. Thank you very much. I also want to thank my elder brother and Sheikh Imam Noor, for also being with us here, and then Sheikh Rashid for those wonderful words. When I was coming, I was thinking of what to say, what to talk about. And Sheikh Rashid blew my mind away. He talked about very important points, especially with regards to learning how to read the Quran and memorizing the Quran. It's very important. I want to begin by making a very controversial statement. Don't make the mistake of dying and going to the Qiyamah without learning how to read the Quran. Don't ever make that mistake. As a Muslim, don't allow yourself to be buried in this ground without learning how to read the Quran. If you make that mistake and go to the Akhirah without learning to read the book of the Almighty Allah, especially those of us who are running after degrees, all kinds of degrees, I saw some Muslims who were learning the Korean language. Korean. I was like, why? So, the Korean series now, they're very romantic, lovely. So I want to learn the Korean language so I understand what they're saying. And you don't learn to read the book of the Almighty Allah. May the Almighty Allah safeguard us. Amen. When I look into the community and the group here, it sends my mind back to the community of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you go to Medina during the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you find Umar ibn Khattab, a Qurashi, standing next to Suhail al-Rumi, an European, next to Salman al-Farisi, a Persian, and next to Bilal al-Habashi, my uncle from Africa. All of them eating from the same bowl, drinking from the same cup, sitting on the same mat. This guy is an African. The one next to him is an European. The next guy is a Persian. And there is the Arab there. This is the strength of the Ummah. No community or no movement in the history of humanity has this except Islam. If you know of any movement in the world where cultural and racial diversity was there at the beginning, it was what conceived the movement and gave birth to it, other than Islam, I stand to be corrected. From the little that I know, no system in the world began with all these racial diversity and cultural differences like Islam. So when I look into the setting and I can see all these differences, wallahi, I'm very happy because this is the source of our strength and our power as a community. The Almighty Allah says in Surah Al-Rum, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافُ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Amongst the signs of the Almighty Allah is the creation of the heaven and the earth, and the differences we have in our tongues and in our colors. The different languages that we speak, we might have different diversities here. Some people say thank you, some will say shukran, some will say gracias, some will say merci, some will say nagode, some will say auninche, some will say miyetti, and we have gone back to the continent, so don't get confused. So the differences that we have in the colors of our skins and the languages that we speak is a sign from the Almighty Allah. So it should rather be a source of strength for us as a community, as a ummah, rather than a challenge. Because that's how the Almighty Allah created us. إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاكُم مِّن ذَكَرٍ وَأُنثَىٰ وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. The Almighty Allah created us from a male and a female, and then He fashioned us into nations and tribes. Why? لِتَعَارَفُوا, so that we'll be able to recognize each other and know each other and love each other. So the power of our ummah lies in the diversity that we have. Look at Hajj. When you go for Hajj, people from different communities. When I went to Hajj, I thought I was a short person. Go to Mecca and someone is at my waist. I was like, whoa, I'm also there. So the differences is a source of power for us. It should be the fuel that pushes our engines. It should be what keeps us together as a community, because the Almighty Allah gave us the solution already. You remember well, Malcolm X said this decades ago, that the solution to the racial problem that America has is Islam. So the Almighty Allah knows this. So as Muslims, He gave us the solution in the Quran, and this is our source of strength. The second characteristics of the Ummah is that we're a chosen nation. The Almighty Allah chose us. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhawna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. The Almighty Allah tells us in Surah Al-Imran, we are the best of nations, the best of nations. Ukhrijat linnas, we were produced specifically for mankind. Ta'muruna bil ma'ruf, why are we the chosen nation? We order people to do good things. Wa tanhawna 'anil munkar, and then we forbid people from doing the evil. This is why we're a chosen nation. And the materialistic world understands that the only obstacle in front of them is Islam. They know it. That is why the number one target for the propaganda machinery is Islam. And the number one target within Islam is the Muslim woman. Because they know very well if they're able to crush the Muslim woman, we the men are already long gone. They know it. So we are the chosen nation because of this quality where we enjoy goodness. Whatever is good, we order people to do it. We encourage it. And whatever is bad, we say, no, this is bad. We don't give it a new name. We don't want to give it a different definition. No. This is who we are. The next point concerning the chosen nation is also that we're also witnesses for the Almighty Allah on the surface of the earth. The Almighty Allah tells us in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. That is how the Almighty Allah made us a just nation so that we become witnesses upon people on the day of Qiyamah. This is better explained that the Almighty Allah on the day of Qiyamah will call Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, Sheikh, not you. And the Almighty Allah will ask him, Hal ballagt? Did you deliver the message? Nuh will say, Kad ballagt, Ya Allah, I delivered the message. And the Almighty Allah will call the community of Nuh. Community of Nuh, come here. This guy is Nuh. I sent him to deliver a message to you. Did he deliver it? And they will say, Ma atana min bashirin wala nadhir. This guy, now, we've been in Willingboro for all those years. He never came. We never saw him. The Almighty Allah will say, No, you said you delivered the message, but these people are saying they didn't see you. So what is your witness? Who is going to be your witness? And then we will say, Muhammadun wa ummatu. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his ummah are my witnesses that I have gone to deliver the message. And the people of Noah will say, Ya Allah, we have an objection. What is it? Muhammad and his community, they didn't live with us. We're not in the same era. How can they be witnesses against us? The Almighty Allah will say, objection overruled. Muhammad and his community, let me listen to you. And we behind the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will say, Ya Allah, we read in your Quran, you said, Inna arsalna Nuhan ila qawmi an anzir qawmaka min. We will say, Ya Allah, we read in your book that you've sent Noah to his people and Noah went to deliver the message. So we are a just nation and we are going to be witnesses upon people on the day of Qiyamah. At this point, I want to make a statement. Sometimes you find Muslims, they're doing something that is wrong. And then when you advise them, they say, don't judge me. Or they say, only Allah can judge me. That's a very dangerous statement. Do you want the judgment of Allah or you want His mercy? So don't use that statement again. Only Allah can judge me, using that as a screen to just block your mind psychologically from listening to the message that is being delivered. We are witnesses for the Almighty. There's a hadith where a funeral procession passed in front of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Sahaba were like, "What a beautiful man! What a great man this guy was! What a good man he is!" And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Wajabat." After some time, another funeral procession came passing, and the Sahaba were like, "Oh, we are free from the evil of this man." And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Wajabat." Sahaba, smart guys, they're like, "Ya Rasulullah, the first scene, you said wajabat. It is established. In the second scene again, you said wajabat. It is established. What does wajabat mean?" And the Prophet Muhammad said, whatever witnesses or whatever witnessing you make upon someone, it is established. Antum shuhada'ullahi fil ard. You are the witnesses for the Almighty Allah on the surface of the earth. So when people advise us, when people even criticize us, let's listen. Let's listen. There might be an iota of truth in what they are saying. If it is something negative and it is something wrong, turn them into building blocks and then climb higher. That's it. If it is something true in you, then it is a gift that the person has given you so that what? You correct your mistakes. Don't take every criticism as someone who is bad-mouthing you or someone who is envious of you. No, don't take it like that. And sometimes that's how, when someone tells us or advises us, and then, we realize that, no, the guy is saying is true. No. Because whatever we do in this dunya, we'll have witnesses for the Almighty Allah on the day of Qiyamah. May Almighty Allah safeguard us. The fourth point concerning the power of the Ummah is that we're a nation of love and brotherhood. And this example is always profound, and that's the example I always use when I get to this point. When the Prophet Muhammad migrated from Mecca to Medina, he instituted a social policy where he bonds someone from Mecca with someone from Medina. So he brought Abdurrahman bin Auf from Mecca, and then he made him a friend or a brother with Sa'ad ibn Rabi al-Ansari of Medina. And at that time, Sa'ad was the wealthiest man in Medina. And then he said, "Yeah, Sa'ad, I'm the wealthiest man in Medina. I'm going to split my properties into two: bank account, businesses, everything. You're going to get 50% of that. 50. Split everything with you, 50%. And listen to this. Listen to this. He said, I have two wives. Two. You are going to look at them. The one that you are pleased with, I'm going to divorce her and then you marry her." You didn't hear me well. You didn't hear it well. Fine, I can give you $1 million, but my wife, forget it. Mm. The American winter is going to kill you. I don't care. He was willing to give him 50% of his properties. At the same time, he has two wives. He's willing to give him one, not give him, but he is going to allow him to choose one of the two wives, and then he is willing to divorce her so that he marries her. So when the Almighty Allah says, رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ, you need to understand. And what did Abdurrahman bin Auf say? He didn't take advantage of the situation. He said, Barakallahu laka fi malika wa ahlik. Dullani ala suq. He said, may the Almighty Allah bless you in your wealth and then in your family. Just show me where the market is. In a short time, Abdurrahman bin Auf made a lot of money that he even got married. And he in turn became the wealthiest man in Medina. The brotherhood and then the love that exists within us or is being instituted by Islam is a brotherhood that goes beyond racial barriers, that goes beyond economic status, that goes beyond whatever barriers you can think of. The moment I walk in a place and I say Assalamu alaikum, that's it. That's it. And this is what boggles the mind of the people who are not Muslims. They're like, how? How? Especially, where we are coming from Ghana, for example, when we're in high school, you come in, or even university, college, first year, you meet your Muslim brother, you don't know where he's from. You just say Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam, and then you shake hands, and then you start talking, and then the Muslims are like, whoa, 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 whoa. This guy just came in, and then you're bonding with him. And I tell them, that's the secret of La ilaha illallah. That's the secret. That when I meet you and you are a Muslim, that's it. I'm willing to put my head on the chopping stone for you. Because of La ilaha, not because of you as an individual, but because of the community that we belong to. Now here comes a question. Someone will ask, Sheikh, you're speaking about the power of the Ummah. The Ummah is powerful. And you've given us all these points. But look at the predicament of the Ummah today. The cheapest blood, with all due respect, is the Muslim blood on earth now. If you want to destroy a nation, just look for a Muslim nation and you destroy them. And that's it. Nobody's going to talk. And that's a fact. If you observe, the most unstable places on the surface of the earth are where? Muslim nations. If you want communities where they're struggling, Muslim communities. So, Sheikh, with all these accolades that you are saying the Muslim Ummah has, why are we in a sorry state? Listen, let's be honest with ourselves. There's a problem. The Muslim Ummah is sick. It's a fact. And 50% of getting a cure is when you admit you are sick. When you do not admit you're sick, then you are 100 years back. So if we want to solve the problem of the Ummah, we first need to accept there are issues, there are problems. But when we close our eyes and think everything is right, we go on a merry ride. No. We need to acknowledge that there are problems, there are issues, then we can sit on the table and then find solutions to that. So someone will say, Sheikh, there are problems. And you still think we are the best nation? The Muslim nations in the world, what are they producing for us? What are we producing? 1,000 years ago, if you want the dominant force on the surface of the earth, Muslims. It's true. We ruled the known world for 1,000 years. From the mountains of Siberia in the north to the Indian Ocean in the south. From the mountains of Mongolia in the east to the doors of Paris in the west. We ruled Spain and Portugal for 800 years. We gave electricity to Europe. They didn't know what street lights were. We gave them soap because they didn't know what bathing was. Because at the height of the Christian world, bathing was a sin. Taking a shower was a sin. I'm not making this up. You can look for this. You can research on this. We taught the world what bathing was. What is soap? We taught the world to have a private toilet. The Roman Empire had public toilets where they all lined up like this and then they were having a conversation while doing it. These are all facts. We gave the world what civilization was. And then we slept, and in the sleep, we were dreaming, and in that dream, we slept, and in that sleeping, we dreamt again. And that is why the Ummah is where it is today. So the question to ask now is, how do we return the Ummah back to her glory days? It's not about criticizing alone. You know, sometimes Muslims will criticize and criticize and criticize and think criticism is the solution to the problem. No. Criticism is only a diagnosis of it. We need to give a prescription to the problems. I believe, as a young man, a student of knowledge, that the responsibility lies upon all of us. It's a collective thing. The imams cannot do it alone. No. Excuse me. The shura members cannot do it alone. The congregation cannot do it alone. It needs a concerted effort. Listen, the brothers alone cannot do it. We need the sisters to on board because it is a communal thing. When I was growing up back home in Africa, in Ghana, the farming communities have a concept they call in the local language Nobwa. And in Nobwa means when we come to, what's your name? Shadid. On Mondays, we all go to Shadid's farm. We clear all the weeds. We help him till. We'll help him sow. We'll help him fertilize the soil. On Tuesdays, we go to Sheikh Rashid's farm. And then we do the same thing. On Wednesday, we go to the next farm. That's what they did. So one person can have acres of land, of farming land, and farming and producing. But then he is not the only one who did all the planting and farming because of this concept of Nobwa. So all of us must come on board to find a solution to the problem. And listen, no matter your status, no matter whoever you are, Islam needs you. Let's put it at the back of our minds. Islam needs us. Sheikh Suleiman here has come to read the Quran. He's 13 years old. Do you think Islam doesn't need him? Islam needs him. The shuyukh are not back. I'm going to ask a question. Abdullah ibn Abbas, the famous cousin of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how old do you think he was when the Prophet died? How old was Abdullah ibn Abbas when the Prophet died? He never knew. He was 13 years old, just like Suleiman. 13. And you hear hadith and Abdullah ibn Abbas, and Ibn Abbas, and Ibn Abbas. He memorized more than 2,000 hadith from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when the Prophet died, he was only 13. 1-3. During the time of Umar ibn Khattab, Umar would bring him into the cabinet meeting. And the older Sahaba were like, yeah, Amir al-Mu'minin, this young man that is here, we have sons like him in the house. Why are you bringing him here? We're discussing serious issues about the Muslim empire, and you're bringing a 13-year-old boy amongst us. And Umar said, no problem. I have a question for you. The surah in the Quran, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحِ. Why do you think the Almighty Allah revealed it? And they were like, yeah, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ, when the victory of the Almighty Allah comes, and then His conquest, and this, and they said whatever they want to say. And then Umar asked Abdullah ibn Abbas, what do you think? Do you agree with him? He said, no, I don't agree with him. And he said, okay, what do you think? He said, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ. It's a sign that the Prophet Muhammad was going to die. Because the surah goes like this. When the victory and the conquest of the Almighty Allah comes, and then you see nations and tribes flocking into Islam, and then you, the Prophet Muhammad glorify Allah and thank Him. So if people are entering into Islam into flocks, what is left for the Prophet Muhammad to do in the dunya? His job is done. And they were like, he's only 13 in age, but he's 113 in brain. To explain further why we need everybody, a sheikh was teaching a class, and there was a young boy amongst them. Anytime the young man comes in, the sheikh will rise up from his seat to greet the young man before he sits down. But then when the older men come in, the sheikh doesn't get up. He sits down. So the old guys, they observed that. So one day they sent a delegation and said, Sheikh, there's something that's going on here, and then we want to draw your attention to it. The way you're treating this young man, it's like you want him to disrespect us. Sheikh was like, how? When he comes in, you rise up from your seat to greet him. But when we come in, you don't do that. You are letting him feel he's better than us. The Sheikh said, no, that's not it. You just misunderstood me, but you don't worry. I'll find a way of rectifying it. After a couple of days, he told them that I have an assignment for you. Find a bird and slaughter the bird where no one sees you. They were like, oh, but this is easy. So the following day, they all came with, they've slaughtered the birds. And he will ask, what did you do? He said, oh, Sheikh, I just put it in my jalbab and then just slaughtered it. No one saw me. So what did you do? I went into here, I went there. And then the boy brought a live bird. And he asked him, I said, you should slaughter the bird. Why didn't you slaughter? You brought a live bird. He said, Sheikh, you said we should slaughter the bird where no one sees us. Wherever I go, Allah sees me. So I can't slaughter the bird. And the Sheikh said, do you now understand why I respect this young man? He said, yes. All of us have a role to play. Our mothers have a role to play. Sulhul Hudaybiyah. When the Prophet Muhammad had a dream that he was performing Umrah, to cut a long story short, they got to Mecca. The kuffar didn't allow them to enter Mecca. They stationed outside Mecca. After a long back and forth, the Prophet Muhammad was supposed to return back to Medina without performing the Umrah. The Sahaba were mad. They had the numbers, they had the weapons, they could just invade Mecca and then take Mecca out. They could do whatever they want. But the Prophet Muhammad said no. So he told them, just take off your ihram, slaughter your animals and then shave your heads. And then they were sitting, nobody moved. And the Prophet Muhammad was like, what's going on? He goes into his tent and then he was speaking to Salama. Salama, the guys, I ordered them to do something. They're not doing it. And then she said, relax, Ya Rasulullah, relax. You just go call your barber. Just have your haircuts. And then you slaughter your animal. and see the magic work. The Prophet went out, he called his barber, he had a haircut, and then he slaughtered his animal, and then the whole Sahaba, they were like, nah, let's get up and do this. Salama saved the day. You know, we're Muslims, of course. And our society is male dominated, whether we like it or not. This is a fact. We can't run away from it. But then who are the ones who are producing the males? I didn't hear you. Who are the ones who are nurturing the males? Hey, I think I might be on the good side of the sisters today. But that's a fact. There is, a non-Muslim Ghanaian, Dr. Kweji Agri, who said, I think in the 19th century, if you educate a man, you educate an individual. But when you educate a woman, you educate a whole nation. Al-Ummu Madrasa. The mother is a school. And women are very important members of our community, Shaqa'iqur Rijal. And women have a role to play. I don't need to tell you the stories of Khadija. I don't need to tell you the stories of Aisha. I don't need to tell you the stories of Hafsa. Even modern day women, I don't need to tell you, women have a role to play. It's very, very important because you raise us, you nurture us, you gave us life, and you stabilize our lives for us. Women are very, very important. And the one who does not understand that, I don't know, I don't want to give an adjective. Let me just keep quiet. All of us have a role to play, irrespective of where we found ourselves. So, in helping build Willingboro Muslim community education circle, all of us need to put our shoulders to the yoke. All of us need to bring whatever resources we have, whatever expertise we have, we need to bring it on board. And please, leadership, let's be willing and open to listen to people from diverse backgrounds and diverse contributions. That's the role of leadership. Let's be willing to listen. This guy says so. Let's jot it down. It is not compulsory for us to implement all the ideas because we can't implement all the ideas. We can't. But then, when you listen to us, when the 15-year-old boy comes and says, I think about this, or this is what I think, and then you jot it down, even if it's a foolish idea, excuse my language, when he grows older, he'll be willing to bring you the more sensible ideas. But then, when we put a partition and say, no, we are not going to listen to you, we are not going to listen to this, we're not going to take care of this, people who have ideas later won't bring it. I use this example when I'm speaking about this to parents. Whatever, foolish questions your 3-year-olds or your 4-year-olds ask you, answer them. Psychologists say those kids ask on an average 400 questions a day. Yes, he has just asked one. Do you know why? Thank you. Another one. This is an essay. I'm kidding. When you do not listen to the foolish things that they say, when they are old enough for the important things, they won't talk to you. But as toddlers and as babies, you listen to whatever they say. Yes, it's irritating, it's frustrating. It's true. Daddy, where did you go today? Mommy, what do you have for me? What is this? How is this? Ask you all those questions, answer them. Mundane, benign talk, answer it. Listen. Because when they get into those teenage ages of 12, 13, 14, when they begin to see those body changes, when they begin to have those relationships where they begin to learn all these things, especially in these times where we have all forms of ideologies trending on the internet, when they come across something that is un-Islamic and then they talk to you about it, you'll be able to rectify it because you listened to them when they were having those foolish talks when they were 3 or 4 years old. Now that they are 15, they will bring to you the serious and important things. When we're growing up, you go to that and then you find somewhere to hide. When daddy comes home, you're scared because there's a lion. He's come home. He's going to devour you. So some kids grew up very timid, very scared. They couldn't say anything. Why? Their daddies are lions. And when daddy is away, the mice can play. It might be, very simple facts, but then in community grooming and growing, we need to have our leaders and our imams, open their ears and their hearts to everybody and jot everything down because you don't know. Later, when that person has a better idea, they can come back to you. So all of us have a role to play. For example, if you go to Surah An-Naml, Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam comes around and then he's checking, he has soldiers, he has jinns, he has all these animals, so he's just going around checking and then he realized that Hudhud is not around. Hudhud. He was like, where is Hudhud? They're like, no, he's not around. Okay, no problem. When he comes back, we're going to see what's going to happen to him. So Hudhud comes back and Sulaiman is like, where have you been? The story is a long story. And then Sulaiman listens to Hudhud. He listens to a bird. And Hudhud tells him, أَحَطُّ بِمَا لَمْ تُحِطُ بِهِ وَجِئْتُكَ مِنْ سَبَإٍ بِنَبَإٍ يَقِينٍ إِنِّي وَجَدْتُ امْرَأَةً تَمْلِكُ. He's like, I went far, I got to a place, I found a woman who was the king of that community, the queen of the community, and this is what is going on, this is what is going on, this is what is going on. He explained. Sulaiman was like, okay, no problem. We've listened to what you said, but we want to verify the information. To cut a long story short, the effort of Hudhud led to a whole nation accepting Islam. Bilqis and her community all accepted Islam because of what? The effort of Hudhud, and then because Sulaiman gave a listening ear to Hudhud. So, to look at it from the other side, Hudhud was willing to give the information to Sulaiman because he knows very well that Sulaiman is going to listen. And Hudhud was concerned about the community of Bilqis because he said, وَجَدْتُهَا وَقَوْمَهَا يَسْجُدُونَ لِلشَّمْسِ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. I found her and her community prostrating to the sun apart from the Almighty Allah. So Hudhud was concerned about what? The Islam and the Iman of the community that he's found. So as individual members of the community, what is our concern for the community? We can do it. In the same Surah An-Naml, if you go back a few verses, the same Sulaiman, an ant, an animal, was responsible for the safety of her community. حتى إذا أتوا على واد النمل قالت نملة يا أيها النمل ادخلوا مساكنكم لا يحطمنكم سليمان وجنوده وهم لا يشعرون. The ant was concerned that Sulaiman was coming with his troops, and that if they do not run and enter into their abodes, their holes, Sulaiman and his soldiers are going to trample upon them and kill them all. An ant was concerned about the safety of its community, As a human being, as a Muslim, are you concerned about the safety and the development of Willingboro community? Yes, of course. And that's why you are here. The next level is what? Dipping our hands into our pockets and what? And helping to finish that building. That's the next level. So it's very, very important that we have that zeal, that passion in seeing that our communities are better off. And nobody is going to do it for us. Nobody is going to. The days of Musa are over. The days where the Almighty Allah sends manna and salwa are over. This is a bright new day where we need to put in our own efforts and what? And help develop our communities. The young ones that we have are our amana. They are the trust that the Almighty Allah has given us. And one of the ways we can make sure that these younger ones are safe is by putting in place centers like the one that we are intending to put in place. You know very well the kind of country we live in, where different ideas are flowing. So if you do not have safe spaces, safe Muslim spaces where the younger ones can grow with Iman, where even us older ones can have spaces where our Iman can be nurtured, our Ruh can get the sustenance, where even our bodies can get the necessary nourishing, then we have a long way to go. So it's very, very important for us to help establish spaces like this, where the young people can come in. It's better for us to have them in places like this. The young ones, the toddlers, screaming, shouting, playing, than for them to be in the ghettos. It's better for us to have them here. It's better for us to open the doors for them, to create it for young people, to create it for the older members of the community. Because as a community, everybody is involved. The older people are very important. The younger people are also very important. Sometimes you go to some communities and the communities is only senior citizens club. Sometimes. If you're not 65, you don't come to the masjid. Yes, I've seen that in some parts of America. You go for Fajr, it's only the old men. The first saf, everybody is sitting on a chair. Because they're old men. And the young men don't come to the masjid. Listen, we need to have a blend of young and old. The Sahaba that you are hearing about, they have old men amongst them and they have young men amongst them. I've spoken to you about Abdullah ibn Abbas. When the old men brainstorm and think, because any community that wants to develop must have two ingredients: the experience and the knowledge of the old folks mixed with the energy and the power of the younger ones. When we say we don't need the old men and the old women, it's like a body without a head. It can't go anywhere. Same way when we say we need only the old men without the young ones, it's like a body without legs. It won't go anywhere. You, the fathers, are the head, and we, the younger ones, are the legs. The mothers are the neck, and without the neck, you can't turn left or you can't turn right. You can't do anything. So all of us are like a body, and all of us have a role to play. The only thing is we all need to step up onto the table and put in our contribution. There's an old African proverb that says, what the old man sees while sitting in his lazy chair, the young man can never see, even if he climbs the tall Iroko tree. Let me repeat. What the old man sees whilst sitting in his lazy chair, the young man can see, even if he climbs the tall Iroko tree. We are blessed to have fathers and elders in the community. Having elderly people in your community is a barakah. But the old people can't do it alone. That is where the young people come in. And sometimes it's a bit, I'm a young man. And some of the communities that I've been, especially back home in Africa, when the old men are speaking, you keep quiet, you shush it. Keep quiet. You don't talk. When the fathers are speaking, you don't talk. When you talk, you know what's going to happen. But then it was not the best. But now the old men themselves, when we go for meeting, they're like, speak, talk. Because it didn't work. Same way when we young men say, we don't need these old men. They are 70, they're 80 years old. They've seen my life twice. So whatever I have seen, or I'm even yet to see, they've seen it twice. So they are a shortcut for me to success. It's very, very important we understand that. So let's blend it. Let's bring the young and then the old. And let's bring in the mothers too on board. Because it's very, very important that as a community, we all put our shoulders onto the yoke. Communal labor, as I knew when I was growing up, is the whole community coming out to dig a well so that the community can have access to potable water. Communal labor, as I knew it, was the whole community coming out to be laborers, to be carrying bricks, water, sand, so that we build a community hospital. Communal labor, as I knew it, was the whole community coming out, men, women, kids, all coming out to be a part of whatever that is being needed to be done in raising the community to its highest level. Finally, without taking much of your time, the piece of advice I have for myself and all of us is that let's nurture the next generation of Muslims on the right path. I'm always very happy when I come to gatherings like this and I meet people like Suleiman and my two younger brothers who are up there. Because when they have a feel of these gatherings, it helps to boost their identity as Muslims, especially here in America, where they know they have a community, where they know they have a family. So it's important that we nurture this next generation of Muslims on Islam. It's not enough that we give birth to them as Muslims or we help them to take their Shahada. It's not enough. Islam is a way of life. Paying lip service to it alone is not. Do you know why I'm saying this? I'm going to leave you with the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he said, if a man dies, all his good deeds are cut off except three things. And amongst those three things, he said, he leaves behind a righteous child who remembers him and then says a prayer for him. I'm going to ask you another controversial question before I leave. The kids that you are nurturing, are you sure when you die, they will remember you and say a prayer for you? وأقول ما تسمعون وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه غفور رحيم. السلام عليكم. Chill.
I hope y'all got a lot out of that. Y'all saw me. I was so interested. I believe that.